Your purpose is tied to two things. The things that you hate, the things that you love. I personally hate poverty. It breaks my heart.
Sure.
So it makes sense why I would write the book that addresses poverty issues, especially in black society, right?
Good afternoon, good morning, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us once again for another episode of 7X Growth Podcast. You won't believe who we have in the studio today. Years in working, months of trial and error and suffering, cancelled meetings. It feels like that. Prayers and fasting. And finally, we got him. I know Chris has been trying very hard to get our guest today.
The privilege of being a brother, no?
Brother, yes.
You know what I said to
You can
Chris?
wait.
I said to Chris, when you send me a message, best call after doing that, because sometimes the message comes in,
Exactly.
weeks pass, and I'm like, Chris, I didn't know you needed me. It's been 3 weeks and I didn't know this guy needs me because I missed the message.
Yeah.
You know that after that now, like we could, now we started now to get along, like, send a call and it was great, man.
If you know the person wants you to call, then it's better. But if otherwise you feel like, I don't want to bother, So,
I actually don't like WhatsApp messages.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like a lot of work gets lost in someone sent a message, they didn't follow up, you missed it,
Oh, okay.
and you were not able to do what they were asking.
Yeah.
But if they call, if you're busy, you can just say, I'll call you back. Then you know that it's on you. You didn't call back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I guess maybe for the guests,
Yeah.
it can be a matter of, if someone is in business, they must know in terms of communication.
Yeah.
Right? I've sent a message. I need to follow up with a call.
Mm.
And then the one who then responds and says, I will get back to you, they need to know that they must honor that and be able to get back to the person. Because a lot of things get lost in communication, especially in the busy era of business that we're in.
You see, we're already getting value here, and we haven't even introduced you yet. And so the fire is already coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, with us in the studio today, other than Christian and myself, we have, as you've already heard and seen, we have Witness Mdaka here with us. An amazing person, a celebrity on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. He's all over the place, traveling the whole country to talk about what is special to him, and he's going to share more about that with us. But Witness is a very well-known author. He's a property entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of the Quality Growth International company, or the company called Quality Growth International.
Yeah.
And he has a heart and a passion for entrepreneurship and for young people. So welcome, Witness, today. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today.
Jared, I must take you everywhere with me so that you do that intro exactly the way you just did it. That sounds very good, man. I can't even believe you're talking about me.
No, thank you so much for being here today. Maybe you can start by just quickly telling us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you for having me, Jared. Chris, good to see you guys. Thank you for having me on your platform. Like you said, my name is Witness Mdaka. I'm a property entrepreneur. I've got a company called Quality Growth International. I'm the author of a book called It's More Than Just Money, a guide to escaping the red race and building generational wealth. I believe it's one of the most best-selling books in the country right now. The book has been trending for 4 years, man.
Wow.
And maybe as time goes on, we'll get into why it has been relevant for all those years. I mean, it's been 4 years since I wrote the book, but it seems people still love the book. They still want to engage with the book. They still want to engage with the brand. I'm a businessman. I love business. I love teaching business to other people. I got introduced to business when I was still very young. I mean, I got into business when I was about 18, accidentally into the property industry.
An accidental entrepreneur.
Yeah, because my mother built back rooms at home, you know. She had received some money from overpaying a house which was about 150,000 rands. And she built back rooms at home and said, if I want to go to university, I must look after those back rooms and look after those tenants. And that was my introduction to business. I had my first formal business, a recycling business, when I was 18 as well, with a business partner of mine, Gift Nantumbo. We used to collect bottles.
Bottles,
right?
wow.
And put them in that big skip. They call it a skip bin, right? The rubbish bin, the big one. Right, and would crush those bottles and deliver them at consult class.
I think we need another episode just to talk about that. Because I've seen those, especially around Namapias Mamelodi. When we go that side, we have a church that side as well.
Yeah.
So when we travel there, I see those skips with all the glass bottles in there. And I always wonder, like, how do you get money from that? Do you actually make money with this?
Yeah,
how does it
they
work?
actually make money because how bottle is made, they recycle the old bottle. So they crush it and then put it into a machine to start making new glass. Right. So we're part of the value chain with a friend of mine, Gift. He was actually quite a good partner because from that we started a spaza shop. We ran a spaza shop. Wanted to build a chain of shops to say we're competing with the Pakistanis. That we don't want them to take over the economy, right? And we were championing. We had shops. We called it purple stores.
Stores.
And our goal was to scale these to about 100 shops. But I mean, retail is not much of an easy business to be in. And eventually, when we dissolved that partnership, he was a statistician. So he went on to join corporate and become a statistician. And then I went the marketing route. I worked for a youth marketing company for 14 months. I was promoted 4 times in 14 months.
Wow.
Then I quit my job. Then I focused on building a property company. And a lot of things have come out of that. You know, it wasn't as easy as I'm saying it now. You know, when you tell your story in retrospect, people always assume, must have been easy. I think things become clearer as you get closer to your goals. You know, as it's like when you're driving a car, going to a faraway destination, you can't see the destination. If you're going 2,000 kilometers away, your car can only light up to where it is at that moment, a few meters. But as you get closer, that's where you see the destination to which you are going. So I think entrepreneurship is more like that, or business, or your career, or your journey, or even your purpose is more like that. You see things, they become clearer as you do more and get closer. Without that, you cannot see. You know, and I think it's biblical, you know. When you look at the Red Sea was only parting as the children of Israel were taking the rest to go into the sea. You understand? It was parting as they move closer. It was parting as they get in. You know, without the moving, the parting does not happen.
You have to put your foot in first.
You have to put your foot in. You have to put the stick in. You have to walk through. And you have to have faith and trust God. I think that's what entrepreneurship is. Your faith being tested and being willing to go through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. The ups and downs of building a project, and sometimes it's not even becoming what you have wanted it to become at the specified time. You know, there are delays. You know, the Bible tells us that we ought to endure delays. Meaning in anything that you are working on, there could be a couple of delays. And what you ought to do is have the patience and the endurance to wait until you achieve the thing that's intended for you to achieve.
So how many years was it from when you started working with the properties that your mom assigned to you until you started your own company?
It took about, for me to formalize it into a property company, that took about 6 to 7 years. So for the first 6 to 7 years, I didn't even think property is a business. And I mean, I was young, I was 18, and it was just something I saw as taking money, collecting money, buying groceries, and paying school fees. Right. And then I had my first job in 2012. So the rooms we had in 2008. I was at VETS in 2008 and 9. I failed dismally. I failed. I was excluded from VETS. Because around that time, man, there was a lot of confusion in my life. My mother had a stroke.
Sure.
2 years prior to that, my brother had been killed
Sure.
due to gang violence.
Wow.
So basically, I ended up being the eldest in my family. My mother had been in hospital, and now I was looking after these back rooms. I've got a younger brother. I had a niece, my late sister's daughter. They were both young. I was young myself. I was 18, 19, round about that.
Sure.
And yeah, I was excluded from vets. Then I went to MGI. I registered for a Bachelor of Business Administration degree. Took about 3 years for me to complete that. The reason why I ended up applying for a Bachelor of Business Administration degree, I had been to vets to study politics, philosophy, and economics. Can you believe it?
Sure.
Chief, I could be in parliament saying, I did politics, philosophy, and economics at vets. But because of what was going on in my life at the time, and I think there wasn't much focus from my side, I flunked that degree. And then I went to my mom and said, I flunked. And she said, why are you crying? Find another university, study something you are willing to pass. I wanted to study property economics because I had now been introduced to property.
Yes.
Then when I went to MGI, because I needed to get a university that would take me immediately. When I went to MGI, I did an aptitude test. The guys were like, no, we think you should study marketing and business according to what the aptitude test is saying.
Wow.
Then that's when I did my Bachelor of Business Administration degree. I did a double major in marketing and business management. And to tell you the truth, I was flowing through that course because maybe
so it ended up being the right decision for you.
It was the right decision.
You are here where you are today in the business and in property and everything, and definitely that was a great decision.
I think it was because I wasn't wasting money. I was passing. You know? So it's quite an important part to say. I guess there might be a young person watching thinking, what should I study? Study something where your strengths lie. You know, something where you're going to be effective in passing. Because I did so well in that course that in my third year, my lecturers actually organized me an internship.
Wow.
For me to work for Student Village for 2 weeks.
Wow.
After working there for 2 weeks, I was offered a job to work full time. When I finished my degree, I already had a job.
Wow.
Then I worked for them 14 months. I was intern, campaign manager, accounts manager, project manager for U Village. And then I was a facilitator and trainer across the country, training all the promoters and campus manager. I developed that training, by the way. Whoa. So as a young person who just came into the company, I was just creating my own roles. I looked at it and said, this looks like it needs to be revamped. And I just sit on my corner and just revamp it and come to management and said, I think we need to have this kind of training. And they said to me, since you've developed it, go across the country teaching it. You know, all the universities in the country, teaching it to promoters, brand ambassadors, campus managers. It was my first job. It was my first time being formally employed. It was my first time on a plane in that job.
Wow.
First time getting on a plane was in 2013 because I was going to manage some campaigns. But more importantly, I was also the guy that was training all the promoters across the country for Student Village.
Now, can we say that all that journey is the one that made you the person you are today?
Yeah, here's an interesting fact, right? Here's an interesting fact. So I developed the training program for Student Village at the time, right? Or improved the existing training program and created one that I thought was more fitting for promoters and brand ambassadors and managers, right? And then a couple of years later, I wrote a book in 2020, right? It's More Than Just Money. Then I thought, let us go on tour across the country. One, I was going through divorce, man, and I wanted to find a lot of things to be busy with and keep my mind off things. But also I saw the need to be able to do seminars in different parts of the country. I was also testing if we wanted to do this, could we achieve it?
Wow.
That's the first thing I asked myself. Then secondly, where did the confidence come from? Remember, I had developed a training manual.
Yes, and traveled around the country.
Traveled across the country to do it. Now I had the confidence to do it for our company, right? There was the capacity for me to say, I've done this before when I worked for Student Village.
Sure.
Now I can do it for it's more than just money. And I can develop the training manual and the content that's required for us to be able to do those seminars.
That's great.
Yeah, so we could say that was preparation ground. Remember when we started, I said, sometimes you don't know where what you are doing will lead you. And perhaps the thing that you are doing now, if it's not the main thing, it could be the thing that leads to the thing. There is a thing like that, to say that if the thing that you are doing now is not the main thing, it is definitely the thing that leads to the thing. You're just not aware yet.
Preparation.
Yes. Everything
yes.
works with preparation.
Yeah.
You know, you might be unqualified for certain positions, but perhaps in your journey, even just being a cleaner can prepare you for something. Perhaps one day you'll run a cleaning company, who knows? Perhaps one day you'll be able to pick up when certain things within your business, within your household are not being done. You know, everything leads somewhere.
So is it that a way to go? Because in the book you're talking about finding your purpose.
Yeah, finding it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that was the way for you to get to a place where, okay, this is what I've been made to be. This is my purpose. I can live for this one.
Yeah. So let me tell you something, right? Good question, right? Your purpose is tied to two things. The things that you hate, the things that you love. Those two things. There's a reason why God has put certain desires in your heart, right? So what society does, we tell people, be content with who you are. Stop asking for more. Stop wanting more. However, your purpose, like I say, is tied to the things you love, the things you desire, and the things you hate, right? For instance, I personally hate poverty. It breaks my heart.
Sure.
So it makes sense why I would write the book that addresses poverty issues, especially in black society, right? Because I hate it. So that's why every day there'll be a burning desire in my heart to address it. So the book was one of the things I used as a tool to address that in people's lives. I've had people come to me that had no clue that with the salaries that they earn, would be able to buy property and start building wealth for themselves, right? But because I wrote the book and because I started writing posts addressing that, those people are now able to write books. Why? I hate poverty.
Wow.
I hate seeing people being poor. I personally do not like it. I hate it with a passion, right? So if God has put that hate in me for that thing, my purpose should be somehow aligned to that, right? And then I love, for instance, communicating and teaching. I said your purpose is tied to the things that you love. When I was doing that training in 2013, 14 for Student Village, what was I saying? I'm available to teach, empower, and train brand ambassadors.
Wow.
Right? Years later, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm training, I'm empowering, I'm inspiring people to get into property, people to get into business. That is tied to the things that I love doing. My desires to teach, my desires to engage, my desires to communicate. So as an individual, it goes back to understanding what your desires and the love for the things that you are doing are, and understanding also what you hate. There's a reason you hate the things that you hate.
Wow.
Because most of the time, especially when people talk about finding your purpose, they just focus in things that you love. No, you must. What do you love? But the way you are putting it together is like, okay, it's both what you hate and what you love together. That's what's.
Sometimes it can be what you hate only. You can hate something so much that your life becomes about addressing the things that you hate.
You know, that's the saying that they say, if it bothers you so much, maybe it's because you're supposed to do something about it.
Let's talk Moses in the Bible, right? Why did he end up being the guy that leads the children of Israel out of captivity?
Because he hated it.
He hated seeing them in bondage. That's why he ended up killing an Egyptian. Why did he do that? He hated seeing that so much, and he took it upon himself first to do it his way.
Yeah.
And then he had to run away. And then God said,
40 years later.
40 years later, God says, nah, you remember the thing that you needed to do? That was a burning desire in your heart. Go back and address it. But it doesn't talk about what he loved at all. But it does talk about what he hated. Sitting here, we know exactly that when we read it in the Bible, he hated that so much that he ended up doing something about it. Right? There must be something as an individual that you hate. And it cannot be other people, man.
I just wanted to say, not people.
Not people.
Don't make your life about other people.
Your life is not about other
No, but
people.
that's very true, because even the company Oxana 7 that we started, it started with us seeing things that we were uncomfortable. We hated seeing so many people in our community having businesses, but everybody's broke. So we were like, this is not right. How come there's 80% of people we know run businesses, but nobody's making money? Something is wrong here. So this company also came out of that desire to say, maybe we can help people. Maybe we can change the way people do business to help them so that they can do it right. And so we put our heads together and we looked at what can we do? What is our skills? What is our experience that we can put together? What do we love to do? And that's how the company was born. So what you're saying definitely resonates very, very well with me as well. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, that's I love that. What you love and what you hate.
Yeah,
That's great.
That's really very good. And I love also what you said about Moses, the example of Moses. First, he did it in his own ways. And then God now came, because the word purpose can become like a classic word, and something that is fancy, is nice to do, and you have to fund it, and then most of the time we try to fund it without God. And we find ourselves walking long distance because we don't have him. And then if maybe we had him with us, the journey couldn't be that long.
Sure.
40 years without God. Now you found God, and now you have to go back again to the same.
To the very same place where you were. Meaning, had you waited for him in the first place, you would have done it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know that scripture that says all things work together for good for those that love God.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes you gotta fail on your own
Yeah.
to know that you need God.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the best lessons for me in my life, right, is failing in areas where I'm helping people now today, because there's a bit of compassion. When a guy comes and says to me, I'm experiencing this and this in my business, there's no judgment that comes from me, because I know how it feels sometimes to be in that place where you've got no solutions. Maybe your debt is higher, right? You need to find a way to take it down. Now you've got no choice but to increase your cash flow. Things are not working. I don't come from a place where I grew up in abundance. I might have said my mother built back rooms, but what were those? Those were basically hand to mouth. So I understand when somebody comes to me and sits down and they're living hand to mouth, I understand exactly what it is. So there's a bit of compassion in the sense that, sometimes there's the pride of success, where because one has achieved so much and so quickly, you don't realize when people come to you for help that there's a need on their side and there's a cry. And there has to be some level of compassion on your side because you're dealing with people, right? And a level of empathy, to be able to say, this might not be my situation. Oh, but I feel for you, brother. But let's sit down. Let's see what solutions we have for you. So being able to take myself and put myself in a guy's shoe and be able to advise. I was advising somebody this morning. They've got a portfolio of about 150 million that their father left. It's a property portfolio, right? And then I'm sitting down with these guys and I was saying to them, it's a family, I'm like, guys, looking at your portfolio, you have to get rid of the residential arm of your business. That's the part that's crippling your business. You guys are good with commercial. The commercial arm of your business is performing very well. You are handling it very well, but you are doing terribly on the residential side. So a part of me knows how to recognize those things because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, I might have not inherited a portfolio of 150 million rands, but I know what it means to build a portfolio. And I know what it means when a property is performing. And I'm able to tell someone that this area of your business is not performing. One, also because I studied business, remember? But I had to get the humility and fail at vets.
Oh.
I had to fail to understand that my degree, I worked very hard to get it. But it's not a badge of honor to the point where I must bash somebody who doesn't get it or who doesn't have it. Because I understand what it means to have failure, man. I've been there in different ways. Like now I look at it and I ask myself, I've been asking God, right? To say, when I was in my marriage, we were doing very well, building a portfolio, growing our businesses. We even started a medical business. My ex-wife was a doctor. But then my marriage crumbled. And I asked myself, why? What is the lesson here?
Sure.
There must be an element of knowing that it is not all by my strength and my wisdom and my intelligence. And know that there were times where I was broken and God came through for me.
Sure.
There were times where I didn't understand and God allowed me to go through the process of learning. There were times where I knew that my life could basically be finished, but God held me together.
Sure.
So that way I know that everything that I am and I'm becoming is not because I'm almighty and all wise and all connected. I know for a fact it's the grace of God. I know this message might not be what people want to hear, but it's what I've been through. I know that everything that I've become, everything that I've achieved, it's by the grace of God.
Yeah.
There were times where I could have lost my mind, but God held me together, man. He brought people that ministered to me. He brought people that advised me. He brought people that believed in me, that invested in my business. He brought people that were willing to teach me, take me by the hand, be patient with me, and allow me to learn and grow. So I know for a fact that it's not all that we achieve that is because of our wisdom. You know, you can do content as much as you can. I've seen people that work harder than me that don't reach the numbers that we reach on our social media spaces. Why? And it's not because I'm smarter than them. Yes, I'm strategic. I studied marketing. I understand human psychology. That plays a role, of course.
Yes.
Right? Because I cannot discount education and say sometimes with my posts, I know what can trigger people. I know what's going to trend. Before I post it, I know for a fact this is going to trend. Before I say something, even some of the things I'm saying in this podcast right now, I know which parts I'm going to come and take and they're going to trend. Right? Because it's human psychology. We study that. But I cannot discount the fact that there are people who know exactly what I know, who have done exactly what I've done, but didn't get the same results. We cannot discount that. And we cannot discount grace. But you know what's nice about grace, no? Grace helps you where you've put in the work. Grace cannot help you do nothing. There you can quote me. Grace
That's true.
cannot help you do nothing. You know, the minute where you are in your element and in your gift, that's where grace operates. Because it operates in a space where God has put you to be and to be effective. You want to serve people, right? You want to help them make money in business. Grace will help you do that.
We have to own, take ownership and responsibility of like what we have received. Because I can't just sit at home on the couch and say, hey, God is going to provide, but I don't do anything with my life. I'm not trying. I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not learning. I'm not growing. Then what is going to happen? There's nothing. You have no capacity to receive God's blessings in your life.
Sure.
You have no capacity to be used because you're not willing to be used. You're just sitting there. And I think there's oftentimes we sometimes have these discussions with business people also. There's this misconception that luck or God's grace needs to make my business work.
Yeah.
But it's not, it doesn't work like that. It's not like you have to put in the hours, the hard work, the time, the tears, you have to pay your dues. And yes, if you work hard, it's going to be blessed because God has given us work to do. This is what we've been made to do, is to work, to glorify his name. But if we're not doing anything, there's nothing to bless. There's no soil for the seed to land and to grow in. Nothing's going to happen from that. So
I'm smiling.
I really love what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm smiling at you because there's an entire chapter in my book called Do Not Rely on Luck. And it touches on exactly what you just said, to say, God's grace is available for us, but only in areas where we are willing to put in the work. Because you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, do you think it's just grace that he's the way he is?
I just saw a short yesterday about that. He was saying in an interview, everybody wants to be like me, but nobody wants to work like me.
Of course. How many people are actually willing to put in as much work as the top athlete, the top businessman, the top speaker?
Yeah.
I mean, we know each other. We know that in the speaking fraternity, for instance, there are guys that are at the top.
Yeah.
But the question is, are those guys at the top because of grace? Or grace operates freely for everyone who's in the speaking fraternity? There are just some people
at the top,
who are
right?
putting in the work and the grace operates and takes them to the top.
Yeah.
Right? And in the podcasting space, for instance, we talk of things of like consistency. We talk about things like marketing. We talk about things being able to post. When I started posting on Facebook in 2020, at some point I was doing 10 posts a day. 10 posts a day consistently for 3 years.
Sure.
For me to get to 190,000 followers on my book page and 170,000 followers on my page.
Yeah.
So there are times where today I make 5 posts.
Yeah.
There are times where I'll post 5 videos.
Sure.
And somebody will say, why is this guy growing? That's consistency.
Yeah.
And haters will be like, you see, you just, it's luck or...
Yeah, these motivational speakers.
Yeah.
No, like
It got handed to you somehow.
what you are saying is true, but if we go back to what you are saying, it's still both. Because as you said, there's people who are doing the same thing who are not getting the same result.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we cannot also just brush it and say, okay, it's hard work, because you can still put to hard work the same business you are doing, the same thing you are doing, maybe more than what you are doing, but you still don't get the result. But
here's what I'm saying, Chris. What I'm saying is, on a base level, grace is available for all of us.
For all of us, yes.
And then the work attracts the grace. So that the grace can make the work work. You understand?
That's true.
And the grace, when I say it's available for everyone, I mean everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Christian, non-Christian. When it rains and someone has a farm, rain doesn't choose, he's not Christian, I'm not going to water his ground.
That's true.
Yeah.
It falls there, right?
That's very
but
true.
the work is done. So you get 2 guys. One guy is Christian, the other guy is not Christian. God is giving both of them the grace of rain.
Yeah.
Because rain is grace, right?
Yeah.
And then one guy has planted, he's non-Christian. The other guy is Christian, but he has not planted.
Yeah.
Who's going to reap a reward there? The guy who doesn't tithe, the guy who doesn't love God, the guy who doesn't pray, he's going to reap a reward.
Yeah.
Why? He did the work. And then the other guy, no matter how much he prays, no matter how much he tithes, no matter how much he speaks in tongues, he will not reap a reward on the ground that he did not plant on.
Exactly.
So I'm saying grace is the basic level. Sometimes we make grace this thing that's for special people. Chief, grace is available for everyone. When God sent Jesus to die, he died for all of us.
Yes.
Didn't choose that Jesus is dying for Chris and Witness. He's not dying. He died for everyone. Whether the guys accept him or not is a different story.
Exactly.
Right? So when a guy works and prepares his ground and tills his ground, puts in the seed, and it rains, whether he prayed today or he did not pray, guess what? The rain is going to hit the ground. His seed is going to grow. He's going to reap the reward, sell his fruit, and make money.
Yes, that's true.
So if you don't plant, you won't make any money, no matter how many tongues you speak.
And most of the time, when it comes to helping businesses, oftentimes that's what we find is the problem. People are not putting in the work. They're not putting the work where it should be. They're working on the wrong things or not working enough at all. And then we
what
show
are those
them
examples of
So
the wrong
then we
things?
show them. So if somebody wants to, let's take an example of, for example, your property company industry that you are in. So somebody will say, "Well, I can't find any properties to invest in," or everything is too expensive. Then but how many properties have you looked at? How many people have you called? No, last week I checked one, and that one. But then you find Witness, you called maybe 50 people to look for deals, to look for opportunities. You visited maybe 20 properties just in the last 4 days.
Sure.
I'm using an example.
Yeah.
So then we look at that and we say, yeah, but it's just not for me. But the problem is not that. The problem is that you have to realize that a lot of business takes a lot of work. Business is not easy. Business is not just you wake up in the morning and then everything happens for you. You have to be willing to, the saying that I resigned my corporate job last year, so I know the saying. So I quit my 8 to 5 so that I can work 5 to 8. So, which actually is not true because it's more like 24/7.
It's 24/7 you're working,
exactly.
bro.
So,
Yeah.
but there has to be work put into, and maybe you can talk to us a little bit about. I'm curious about two things, but the one we'll get to in a moment. What did it take for you to go from managing the back rooms at your mom's house to establishing your own business and buying your own first property? Mm-hmm. What did it take for you to get, and what were some of the main challenges that you faced that you had to get over?
Yeah, the first thing is, what did it take? It took to be hungry, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like I said, right, there are people who are just excellent people. And by the excellence is not something that's given to you. If there's one thing that's not freely given, it's excellence. Excellent is an end. It's something that's earned, right? So with me, I was excellent in my marketing job. I was excellent. When I worked for the CEO of Student Village is still my friend to this day. I resigned in that company in 2014, April.
Wow.
To this day, I can pick up the phone and call him and say, "Oh, you Jewish, right? I saw this one Jewish guy who is doing extremely well. I want to have him on my podcast." And he's going to say, "Okay, let me call him. Let me use my influence as a Jewish guy and call him for you."
Wow.
Right? Because I did so well in his company, he's proud that I worked for him.
So just to pause you there, so speak a little bit about what work went in there. Like, how hard did you work there to establish that excellence in that company?
So I think for me, right, if you want to achieve anything, must be willing to suffer for it. Yeah. The Bible says those who hunger and thirst for righteousness shall be filled. And I think sometimes we are not hungry enough, and we say it lightly, right? You must have hunger. But what we actually mean by that is that the thing that you actually want, be willing to suffer
For it.
Right? You can't want to be a businessman and not suffer. There's some form of suffering that goes into it. There's some form of sacrifice that goes into it. There are times where you don't have money to pay yourself a salary, but you're going to pay your employees a salary. You do whatever it takes to make sure your employees are paid, but you don't have a salary yourself. Tell me that madness that you choose as an entrepreneur to put on yourself. Well, you could be saying, nah, I've got kids, I've got a wife, I'm paying myself. But you are saying, the business comes first. My employees come first. My clients come first. You come last. I know people say, pay yourself first, whatever it is. But in reality, if you want to have a successful business, you must actually pay the business first. The business must thrive and grow and prosper. When the business thrives, grows, prospers, you will thrive and grow and prosper. So going back to your question, what did it take? For me, I didn't even know that I'm building a long-term relationship with him at the time. I knew, though, that I one day wanted to be in business. And I asked myself, that if I don't do well in his business, will I ever be able to attract people who are going to do well in my business?
Wow.
Right? Because Bible says you reap what you sow. You understand? So as a young Christian man, I was very, very in the word at the time, man. Like if there was a time where I was in the word, was in that time.
Wow.
You know, and for me, I looked at it and said, okay, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur before I even went to work. Because I had wanted to start a laundromat at home, and I wanted to service the hospital. And my mother, who was a nurse, said, no ways. You want to take sheets from the hospital to my house? You are not going to do that. And they had a meeting for me. I had my grandmother, and my grandmother was like, this business of yours of sheets, chief, go find a job. So
You end up washing them by hand, everything.
exactly. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go get a job. But I knew that the end goal for me is to be in business.
Wow.
Right? So if the end goal for me is to be in business, I have to understand how a business is run. That's why I chose to work for an entrepreneur. Right? And there were times where I would knock off at 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the evening.
Where'd you
I
get to
stayed
knock
in
off?
Tembisa.
You got to knock off?
I got to knock off at least, right? I got to knock off. But the main
Yeah.
thing is, there were times where I was willing, after my colleagues have gone home,
Sure.
I was willing to be there extra hours,
Wow.
Yeah.
you know? And they would buy us Nando's and they would call it going the extra mile,
Wow.
right? Going the extra mile, you know? And for me, that taught me a lot about something, because the campaigns that we set, putting extra hours to, were actually quite successful campaigns.
Wow.
And the ones where you don't give attention, they become unsuccessful. So I learned that whatever you give attention to will blossom and grow and do well.
Sure.
Right? And then when I came into my property business, I knew now, remember I had gone through running a recycling company.
Sure.
I had gone through running the stores.
And
I
almost the laundromat.
yes, and almost the laundromat. And then now I had worked for a marketing company.
Wow.
So I understood what it meant to want, if you want something to be a success for yourself, and success is relative, right? What you ought to do. And I simply just wanted to do well and be myself and express myself, you know? And I still have that desire. For anything that I do, I wanted to succeed. When I wrote the book, I said to my ex-wife, I don't want to write a book that nobody reads.
Yeah.
If I'm going to write it, it must be a bestseller.
Wow.
Otherwise, what is the point of me writing
Exactly,
it?
yeah.
If I'm doing it, it's got to do well. If anything has my name, Witness Mdaka, on it, it must be a bestseller. If now we've got a YouTube channel, if my YouTube channel has my name on it,
Yes.
it's got to have thousands and potentially millions of subscribers.
Wow.
And it's going to get there, because I'm not going to stop until it gets there.
Yeah. So
I'm not stopping
Is
until it
that
gets
goes with? I remember last night I was just sitting, working in my mind, because the thing with entrepreneurs, we don't work only when
We're doing the
we are
work.
doing the work.
All
We are
the
working.
time.
Do you know that I dreamed about you?
Sure.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I slept thinking about what we're doing right now.
I see.
You know?
You visualized
like
it.
already working, preparing, seeing it, how it's going to be. And you sleep. I dream about
Yeah,
you.
the podcast again.
So you
What
see,
was the dream about?
that's
the questions
all,
and
that's all. So what I'm trying to say is the work that we put, it's even mostly in our mind than even physically.
Sure, it's very mental.
You know?
It's a lot of
because
mental work.
to sit to think about what is the next move, what can work. Because, you know, business is not something that you know what is going to be the outcome. As you gave the example of the Red Sea. More you push, more it's opening. And then sometimes you don't know how far you can go. But
Sure.
you just go with faith and then your work. Because you do the part of the work that you're doing, and then the rest God is doing. I posted, I said on LinkedIn, I said, maybe it's not the lack of strategy, is just your limiting belief. Because the success, it's relative, it's different, but you succeed to the measure of your imagination, to the measure of how far do you want to go?
How far you willing
you
to push,
were willing to go. Yesterday, I was talking with my younger brother. I have only one younger brother. I was talking to him, just asking him about his business, and he was telling me he failed already one. I said, like, yeah, that's good. No, I started that one, didn't work. And I said, oh, that's good. Because now you know what works and what doesn't work. But in the conversation, I told him about this vision. Say, if you want to make $1 billion business, you can make it. You can do it. It's all about what you have in your mind. If it's $1 million, it's okay. If it's 100,000 rand, or whatever you put in your mind, you can get there. Because the work you put into your business depends on where you want to take your business. Most people, they don't put more work because all they want is just food, just to pay their rent. And people like that, you have to take them to the level where they are and try to understand them. And maybe the way to help them is first to elevate their vision and to help them see their business in another way. Because some people are sitting in the gold and they don't know that they're sitting in the gold. So you have to make that person understand that you are sitting in the gold, so that he can put more work into it. And then that maybe can go with also, in the book you spoke about mindset. Is it everything that you have explained, was it your mindset or played something in that? Failing and trying, changing, not knowing, but still continue.
So I love what you just said, to say that if someone is found in a specific place and they're not achieving, show them the vision, show them the end goal. Because sometimes we are working, but we don't know what we are working towards. But if you know the end goal, even some temporary challenges don't put you aside, because you know that the end goal is that. So in the book, I've got a chapter called 80% mindset and strategy, 20% skill.
Wow.
Right? So 80% mindset and strategy simply means everything that we do stems directly from our mindset. Right? There's a lady in the office right now who's an administrator that is saying, this is all I can ever earn. I can earn 6,000 and that's it. And there's another lady that says, no, this is all the company can pay me now, but it doesn't stop me from using my 6,000 to create more income for myself. Right? My grandmother was a cleaner.
Sure.
Working for the city of Joburg, earning 2,000 rands at the time, or less than that. But she was making more than 15,000 rands in those days, selling alcohol and cold drinks and beers from a tavern.
Wow.
So her mindset was not, I'm a cleaner, I'm limited.
Yeah.
How she made her money was literally to start a business. She was selling anything and everything. There were times where she would park a car on the streets in Alexander. We would sell bananas there. We would sell fruits, apples, pomegranate, all those things we used to sell on the streets. And she would make money. I think it's a mindset. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. That's why they say the spirit of entrepreneurship. Whatever, a spirit sometimes is a mindset. How does this person think? How do they apply that thinking? How do they make decisions daily, big and small? Because it's all about decision making.
Sure.
Chief, even the decision in the morning to wake up and you decide you are not brushing your teeth, there are consequences for that decision. There are consequences for that decision, right? So every single day, as human beings, we are dealing with being able to make decisions. But the way we make decisions stems from how our mindset is. If a person is making decisions that are drawing their life backwards, it simply tells you what's in their mind.
Yeah.
If a person is making decisions that are moving their life forward, it also tells you what exactly is in that person's mind. A progressive mindset, a backward mindset. So you got to choose and say, what I'm thinking about, how progressive is it? How backward is it? You know? So that's why I say everything that we do, 80% of it stems from our mindset. And 20% really stems from whether or not we're capable of doing it. I'll give you an example, Chris and Gerard, right? There are people that are very talented, but that will not achieve 10% of what you have achieved. Why? Not because you are smarter or more talented, but because you had the guts to do it.
Yeah.
The guy sat and had the same idea, but he didn't do it.
Is that thing, that was my idea.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's seeing somebody else doing the exact same thing.
Ideas don't make money.
You don't have guts, bruh.
Yeah.
Your mindset is full of fear. But there's someone out there who's not as talented as that guy.
Yeah.
That's going to wake up in the morning and say, whether or not I know how to do that thing 5%, I'm going to do it. And they've got the confidence and they stand in front of people and say, I'm selling 1, 2, 3 lakh. But that guy is not skilled enough. But the guy is making money because he's got guts.
Do you know that saying? It says hard work will always trump talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Sure, powerful.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I've heard that's
yeah, so
very
it's,
much
it's,
so.
It's very true, because the thing about talent is that it gives you a foundation to work with. It's like you have the soil. It's maybe we can think about farming. It's when you have fruitful soil, you know, it's there, and it has the capacity to do great things. But if you don't work hard and till the soil and prepare the soil and sow the seed, like you were talking about the rain, you know, preparing for the rain, that soil was useless. It's just sitting there because you're not putting in the work to develop what is already there. So some people, they don't have the if I can use the word, privilege to start with fruitful soil. So they have to work with what they have and go and put more work there to bring compost, to bring all the what do you call it, the nutrients that they put in the soil to prepare it now, because the soil where they are is not good. It's like if you traveled, I don't know if you've ever been to Uganda, but in Uganda you can like take a dead stick and just anywhere shove it in the ground and it will grow. That place is so fruitful, you know. And so they have like this, we could say that's the talent, right? It has the beginning foundational things, but if you don't work, it means nothing. It has no value if we don't put in the work, because it's in the work that we learn the lessons, that we grow, that we establish that we take those steps, that we are building the things. But if there's no work, it's
so the talent is the potential.
It's the potential. So you're born with talents, and that just speaks about potential. Like I remember in high school, I had one of my friends, Adrian. This guy was super talented in everything. Like most of us, we were just like, this guy, he just got handed a golden something from God when he was made. Like music, I remember one time we were walking around, we went into this music store. He never played drums. He went there to set at some drums. He was like, oh, that's nice, because he played guitar. And then he was like, I wonder if I can play this song. And he was like, okay. So, okay, I think I got it. Played the song, like, even the guy from the store was like, how long did you practice that song? He's like, no, I've never touched this.
Yeah.
You know, and even in athletics, throwing spears, running, he beat everyone. And then the teachers were like, you coming for practice? He's like, no, I'm not interested in athletics. But for trials, he would beat everyone in everything. So that's like, but he had the talent, but he didn't want to use that talent. So after some time, that talent now, it dies, yes. Yeah. Because now the other people that are working hard, they will overtake you. So it's very important that when we have talents, we use and develop those talents. And yes, we won't be able to make use of all our talents, because sometimes you have talents in things that maybe don't serve you at the time. So you can't focus on those things. So like my family is very artistic, but I can't use that art right now. Like I put that talent aside to focus on other things that I can develop.
Brother,
other
this is
talents.
artistic.
Is it?
Yeah.
I never thought about it.
No, he is.
You are tapping into your artistic side. That's what we are
okay.
doing here. Communication is art.
Oh,
You're a gifted communicator.
Awesome.
Communication is art. And I think it goes back to, in the Bible, the children of Israel all have different gifts. All 12 tribes represented something. It would tell you the tribe of Judah must go first because they're praising. It would tell you that tribe is good at defending. So our families are also good at different things, right? I heard my daughter say to me, Daddy, I want to be a business person. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. You know why? Her mother's father was in business. My father's family, everybody's in business. Those guys are entrepreneurs. My grandmother,
your grandmother,
my grandmother was in business. My grandfather was in business.
Sure.
I'm in business. So it's okay. She can be in business if she wants to. Then she changes the other time and says, Daddy, I'm going to be a doctor. But guess what? Her mother is a doctor. Her mother's mother was a nurse. My mother, her grandmother, was a nurse.
Wow.
So if she decides she want to be in the healing space, it's okay. Her family has got that gift.
Sure.
So I think it's also important. You have seen those families where everybody is a teacher. One way or another. Even if a guy doesn't do teaching per se, you'll find him teaching in church. You'll find him doing trainings. It's teaching. It's communication. It's an art. So with you, your family is artistic. You might have not followed the traditional route of art, but entrepreneurship is about creativity. It's about art. It's about bringing out the best out of you. You putting together this setup. You have to think about it. You have to put together this podcast, the content that you're creating here. All of that is art. Art is about creation.
I think this is very important also, because most of the time we confund, we will misunderstand the talent with the expression of the talent.
Okay.
Those are two totally different things. You can have a talent, but you express it in a certain way that yourself you don't even understand, but someone have to tell you, but as you are telling him, no, but you are into it already, So, for example, me, I went to, I wanted to study, I studied medical. But yesterday, so
Dr. Chris.
Yeah. So I was talking to my younger brother just to try to make him understand also the thing, because he did computer stuff. And so I was telling him that don't focus in those things. So you have already whatever that you know. Start now to see what you know in a different perspective of it. How can you create a business around it? How can you, what is trending right now? Because if you know already how to do those things, there's AI, there's this and this. And start now to try to see how you can put it together so that you can create something different with that. I know I was talking to him, he was like, okay, I'm working, but me, I'm into business. Because I know that in the family, there's, business comes with it. Father, grandfathers, and all the stuff, And then myself, I'm into business. But I told him one thing. I say, okay, maybe I didn't finish my medical school. But right now, with the skill of entrepreneurship that I have right now, I know that if I put more work toward this, I can create something that can be worth $1 billion. Because I know the medical. And I know the business. So imagine now, okay, I know that if I put AI and this one together, I can create this kind of software that can serve this kind of environment.
Biology.
You see.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's something. So healing is still there. So how can we heal? Because I know I'm a healer. I know that's my gift. I know I have it. So how can we express it? I don't have to express it just in the way that the conventional society is saying it. So sometimes we don't understand how people express their talent. And no.
I love that. Having the talent and knowing how to express the talent. And you are saying that it can be expressed in different ways. You know, some people express it through books.
Yeah.
I have.
Yes.
Some people express it through podcasts, YouTube channels. All of that, it's expression.
Yeah.
Some people express it through business.
Yeah.
We are basically sent on earth by God to express ourselves, to express everything that He has put in us. You know, I'm here expressing myself.
Yeah.
But about what? Ideas around business, ideas around entrepreneurship, ideas around communication.
Wow.
All of it is an expression. So I love
Sure.
that. Thank you so much.
In this book, there's, I don't know if I should ask about that, but you spoke about marriage as a strategy.
Yeah. To build wealth.
Yes.
Yes. So let's put it bluntly, how society is structured right now. Right? A young guy earning 20,000 can do up to what 20,000 can do. But a young guy and a young lady earning both of them 20,000, now they've got capacity to do what 40,000 can do and not 20,000. Right? And what I also meant, there's a level of discipline that comes with being married for both male and female. There's a certain direction your money goes when you're a married man and are focused on the family vision and wanting the family to grow. You're not scattered. A guy that's not married, like me now, I'm not married anymore. So I want to be married again.
You're scattered.
So I must do dates. How much is a date? As an example, I'm just showing you. But a guy that's married, even if I was just dating and I've got a partner, right? The reality is that anything that I do for her is not the same as Gerald do something for his wife. Those are two different things, right? Whatever you do for your wife, ultimately you're doing it for yourself. Whatever you're doing for a dating partner, you are doing it for them. And that's the reality.
It's a high risk investment.
Yes, it's an investment that might not yield any results.
And I saw in the book you said like you have to pay for the upskill your wife, not your girlfriend.
Yeah, of course. I mean, okay, let's say now you've got one guy has a girlfriend and he's paying for her education to be upskilled, maybe to do a PhD or an honors, whatever qualification. Chief, when she comes back and says, I don't want to be with you, you must accept and let her go. But with your wife, I mean, she's upskilled herself, you are upskilling yourself. The whole family is moving forward. They are no longer earning the little that they used to earn. There's capacity for the family to earn more. And I believe also that when two people get into a marriage, if they're getting into it for the right reasons, they both want to grow. They both want the family to do well. They both want the family to prosper. So ultimately, when you're investing in her and in yourself, you're ultimately investing in the growth of the family. And that's what a partnership is. And ideally, when marriage was started many years ago by God, when you look at it, that thing is a partnership more than anything. It's being able to come together and do something more than we would have. It's me and you, we make a baby. Not you and I. We can't make a baby, right? But me and a woman, we come together. It's just the two of us, but we can multiply and be three. We can grow and be four. We can grow and be five. But male and male cannot grow. That's a different story altogether, right? But with me and a female, there's a level of blessing that comes with that. Not only on the biological reproduction side, but also financially, mentally, physically, socially.
True,
you have more access to more people because of your marriage.
So talking, sorry, let me just finish this.
Okay.
Talking about in the entrepreneurship side of you,
Yeah.
You have the experience of being married. And then
Yes.
you wrote this book when you were married.
Yeah.
Is something changed after your divorce? I'm asking this because I've been this week, even the other one, you have been talking about your. I follow you, man.
When I talked about
we
divorce,
were talking about your divorce.
nothing
So
has changed. I believe in marriage.
No, not in that way. In the
Yeah.
way that when you were married, and then you built, and then now after building something, and then now you divorce.
Yes.
Now you become again a single.
Yeah.
Was it a change in the business side of it?
Yeah. Okay. There'll always be change, right? Because in as much as you can run and operate a business when you are starting, the first 10 years of your marriage or first 10 years of your business, man, you are a startup, man. Even in the first 15 years of your business, you are a startup, right? So experiencing something like divorce, I mean, can throw you off. Mentally, emotionally, even financially, it throws you off, right? There are certain assets that you've built up as a family that now have to be split up, right? You might have been married out of community of property, but there's some accrual system that's there in place. Even if it's without accrual, right? There's certain things, if you're a fair person, you know that your partner contributed
Yes.
somehow,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You contributed as
Can't
well.
just send them off empty-handed.
You don't send them
Yeah.
off empty-handed and vice versa. So nobody wins in that thing. You understand? But it doesn't. Or some of my businesses I started after I was divorced.
Oh,
Right? There's been a level of growth that I've never experienced in my whole life after divorce. It's not to say that when you are single you can achieve certain things, or when you're divorced you can. It's not a disease being divorced. You understand? It's more of course it does slow you down in terms of what you could have achieved if you were sane at that moment. Those months you are taking working on your healing, it could have been months where you were taking and scaling your business, for
Oh, yeah.
instance. You understand? So for me, there are a lot of businesses that I started when I was divorced. I built that. It's more than just money movement when I was going through divorce. I was going through divorce when I built the movement and went across the country, did seminars.
I understand you were
impacted
running
thousands of people. Not
no joking.
Let me tell you, right? It's important for men to put themselves in their vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, one thing you have to understand, your wife is not your vision.
Yeah.
She's not your end goal.
Oh.
That's where the problem is. The reason a lot of men, when they get divorced, they become depressed, it's because you made her your project and your vision.
Yeah.
You don't have a project and a vision
Now
for
you
your
feel
life.
purposeless.
That's
yeah.
where the problem is. I had a purpose before I met her. I had a purpose when she was in my life. I have a purpose now that she's gone. That's me. You understand?
That's good.
And it's important to understand yourself and know what your own purpose is. Like I say, there's industries that I was not in, like the tech industry that I'm in now, that I was not in when I was married. The speaking industry, I was not in when I was married. The podcasting industry, I was not in when I was married. Right? Yes, I became an author while I was married, but even when I got divorced, I sold more copies in my divorce than I did when I was married. You understand? It doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot be effective. But for me, it's two people can always do better if both people have the same vision and the same mindset and want to reach a certain level. Obviously, if I had a partner that was smart and is with me and I'm working together, Chief, I could be doing more, obviously. But it doesn't necessarily mean I can't do more when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are different ways we partner. I can find Gerard, partner with him. I can find Chris, partner with him. But when you get home, you're like, Ish, can I don't have a wife?
Yeah.
You
So,
understand?
my excuse me. I think my because we also we see the pressure of entrepreneurship on marriages a lot, in the clients that we work with and the space we are in. From your perspective, what would you say if you could do things differently if you get married again?
Yeah.
What would you do different than the first time? And from the perspective of maybe people that want to get married or that are married and are in business, what would you give as advice of things that you think you would do differently or better this time?
Okay. One, I'll give you an example. So, as an entrepreneur, I will not be home for dinner at 7 o'clock every night. And that I've discovered and made peace with. So anyone I marry, I'm going to be upfront and say, sweetie, I love you, I'm going to marry you. I won't be home for dinner every day for 7 o'clock. You know why? Because it's impossible for me to be home for dinner every day at 7 o'clock. You understand? And most people will give advice and say, eat dinner together every day. That advice does not apply to me. Because I'm never home at 7 o'clock at night. You understand? So it's important to marry someone who understands that this guy is busy, he will not be around. He's working for the family, right? If it means I, as a wife, I adjust and join him in the business, then so be it.
Yes.
So one of the things I would also do, it's important to have aligned values, right? Aligned values in the sense that even if someone is not an entrepreneur and a risk taker outright like I am, there has to be an understanding of what building a legacy is and what it takes to build a legacy. Anything that's going far requires you to make more preparation for it because it's going far. If you are driving to Cape Town now, you're going to check your car. You're going to have money for toll gate. You're going to make sure your car is serviced. You're going to make sure you've got petrol. You're going to make sure your car can get there. But if you're going around the corner to Johannesburg, you don't even check your tires to see if they're fine. Why? You are not going far. So if I know that I'm going far in my journey in business and entrepreneurship, I know the level of sacrifice that I need to put in.
Wow.
In the built environment where I am. If a guy is building a single story, he doesn't have to go down much in terms of his foundation. But a guy who's building a big story building, a high story building, goes far in terms of his foundational preparation.
It's deep.
So it's important for one to understand what it takes to build things that are going to go high and what it takes to build things that are going to go far. So I know that I want to go far and have a certain level of influence, not only in the country, but internationally. So I need to be able to be with someone who understands what it takes to build that kind of thing.
Wow.
So what
that
about
tomorrow-
what about those who are already, maybe at the beginning the vision of starting business was not there,
Yeah.
but now that I am married
Yes.
and I see that now I can start a business.
Yeah.
So those are different conversations that have to be, put on the table so that we can discuss, and sometimes become very difficult.
As a businessman, you must be a salesman.
Oh,
You must constantly be selling. You must sell your ideas, you must sell your business, you must sell your products, you must sell the vision to your wife. It's your responsibility to make sure the vision is constantly sold and sold to her successfully so that she can know what she's supporting. You cannot just expect her to support something she doesn't understand.
Yes,
yes.
that's true.
You understand? So you know this vision more than anybody else because it's your journey, it's your business. But she's there thinking, how do I support Gerald? But I don't know what Gerald is doing.
Yeah.
She wants to, but she doesn't know. But if you sit down with her and say, this is the family vision.
Yeah.
This is what we are achieving. This is where the business is going. This is where eventually I want it to be. The vision might evolve. It might get better after reaching a certain state. Like, for instance, if you're a businessman and you're saying, I want to make $1 million, right? After making $1 million, probabilities that I want to make 10. The vision restructures and changes now. When you make 10, you're like, why can't we make 100? After 100, the probability is like, let's make $1 billion. So the vision will constantly be changing. And at each point of your growth and transformation, you've got to explain.
Yes.
You've got to sell. You sell your team so that they can get the vision. But behind the scenes at home, you're also selling the vision of what we are becoming as a family.
Yeah.
What does this new man look like? And I think in my first marriage, I failed dismally to explain the new man that I am. That I'm no longer that guy who's just trying.
Wow.
Now I'm that guy who's an author. We'll be sitting at the restaurant. People are going to come greet me. How are you going to feel as my wife when women come and greet me and say, oh, wow, you changed my life. You did very well. I failed to explain that.
Sure.
But it's because I didn't understand what I had. Now it's a bit different. I understand. I know I could be on a date and 4 people, 5 people are going to come greet me. And the lady will probably think, hey, this guy is a womanizer. Man. Why are so many women greeting you?
See why we lock the doors so we can podcast in peace.
So now that I understand, I need to tell the person that I'm with the dynamics of what it means to be with me.
Wow.
Because sometimes I'm in my thoughts, ne? And I'm in a different province, and sometimes I'm even in a different country, and you come find a guy coming or a lady coming, are you Witness Mdaka? And I'm like, oh yes, I am that guy, right? But now I'm aware of the dynamics. I'm aware that at any point, someone could greet. I was at Menlyn Mall yesterday for a few meetings, and I was just on the phone in my thoughts, and a guy just stops me, and I'm like, in my mind, how did he even spot me? Because my head is down and I'm busy. But those are the dynamics. And some women might not like that. And perhaps what I should have done in my previous marriage is sit my now ex-wife down and say, these are the dynamics of what's going on now. I'm becoming popular. People might stop us, want to talk to us. Do you like it? No, I don't like it. How do we deal with you not liking it? How can I make it better for you?
Wow.
Maybe perhaps when I'm with you, I can say to people, listen, I'm not being rude, but I'm with my family right now.
That's very true, because even like I'm a pastor, and those are some of the things that we also deal with. Like we have the saying to say, just because you're a pastor doesn't mean your wife is.
Sure.
Right? She doesn't have your calling. She doesn't have your covering. She doesn't have your vision. She cannot handle the same pressure as you can, because she's not there. Yes, you are one. You are married. You're serving together, but she's not the pastor of the church. And sometimes there can be this expectation, now because you are successful or you are a certain person, automatically your wife is seen in the same light. And that can be a lot of undue pressure on somebody that doesn't like that. Like my wife doesn't like to be in the front, even though she sings in church and those things, but she's not somebody that likes recognition or something like that, you know. She wants to, she's happy to serve and love in the behind the scenes, and she's very good with that. She's excellent with people, but she has no desire to be in front of people. You know, and I can imagine in your situation how that can play a massive role when there's that sudden change. And now people are even starting to put that same pressure on your wife to be like you.
Yes, and for me, I think that's why I say, and thank you for that great explanation, to say, to this day, I knew she doesn't like being popular.
Wow.
To this day, I know she doesn't like being in the forefront. She doesn't like being seen. Sometimes she didn't even like when people know she's a doctor. She just wanted to be a normal person, right? Whereas my life, on the other hand, was abnormal. and the abnormality.
Hey guys, we're here at the restaurant.
And the abnormality came later on in the marriage. In the first 5-6 years, we were fine. Nobody knew me. It was okay. I didn't write the book. I was just doing business. We were doing well. We drove nice cars. We lived in nice houses. Nobody knew those things. But now, here comes this guy. Now everybody must know we've got a property portfolio. He's everywhere. He's writing books. So I failed to manage that.
Wow.
Life is about management. And I thank God for His grace for me to be able to recognize. That's one of the things that I failed at. To say, my gift and my covering is for me. But I must ensure that another person is not as exposed to the public as I am.
Yeah, and that's very important for people who are not married yet, like us,
like you, Chris.
Me.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't worry, you've got a big brother who's been there.
So they
submit your applications now.
No, it's very good to hear this, you know. It's because sometimes we have those big dreams of how things have to happen, and then we want to impose it to people. And sometimes we remove people in our lives that have to be there because we think like no, they don't fit to our vision. But that's your vision. It's not their vision. You have to understand that, and as you said, you have to do your homework of trying to sell. I think these things of you were selling, I was telling someone today before the podcast about that. Okay, you have to sell your vision. You have to sit there and tell her, what you want and how you can help her and how you want all these things to be, so that she can be involved. Because sometimes we just want people to support us. We just want people to be involved in our vision, but they don't know how. And they don't have that capacity.
Sure.
So we have to find a way to build that capacity, and a lot of communication, talks, and try to sell that vision so that the person can see you and her at that top, And then once the person buy that dream, you see they will start also to make more effort to think for you. Okay, today you are speaking there. Okay, you have to dress like this. You have to do like this. I saw that jacket will look nice if this. Now you see now the person now start to put more work to what they dream, because she knows that it's not your own dream. It's her own dream also. And while you are up there, she will be also there, because we are not the same. I am crazy when it comes to write down projects and things. There's no limit. If you look at in that book that you signed for me, you said, Chris, the sky is the limit. In that book that the last time, yeah. So to
this
me,
one, he's talking about this one, everybody. It's more than just money.
You said, Chris, the sky is the limit. And then to me, the sky is the limit. So when I sit, I think about business, about whatever I want to do with my life. The sky is the limit. So imagine now you come with someone who the sky doesn't even want to the sky, even just to get at the corner here, she doesn't want it, and you want the sky to be the limit for her also. Yeah. There'll be a problem.
And you're now imposing, and that's the thing. One time, I remember one time she said to me, why do you always want more? Why do you not get enough?
Sure.
You always want the next property, the next project, the next business. Why don't you just get enough? And I realized, okay, I was imposing my growth, my business, on her. She probably just wanted to live a normal life.
Yeah.
And my life is not normal. My life now is not normal. The only person who gets my life, I can tell you now, in my family, is probably my daughter. She always tells me, Teddy, you're always on your phone. You're always on your phone. You're always working. And she's 6.
Sure.
She said to me, you're always working. Sometimes you must put your phone down and sit and watch TV.
Wow.
I don't watch TV. But at times I leave my phone on the table and I sit down and I watch TV with her, even if it's 30 minutes. Because she said to me, remember, we work on the phone nowadays. Chatting, emails, some projects you do it on the phone. So we don't know when to stop.
Yes.
We don't know when to stop sometimes. But a 6-year-old told me, you're always working. You're always on the phone.
Sure.
Put it down, watch TV with me.
So your business is mostly, you as I know it, I don't know if there's more, but you work with relationships and networking, those events that you create and you go all over the world. But also in your book, you highlighted about that also. Is all entrepreneur have to build relationships and have a network to succeed?
In the book, I said there's a chapter that says relationships are capital. And I gave some examples of when I did this property investment in one particular area in Tembisa. and I built 12 units for rental and 3 more, so 15 in total. So I bought this house, and it was on the market for 650,000. And the bank valued it and said, this property is worth 529, so we'll give you 529. And I paid the other shortfall to make it the 650,000. But because I saw the vision. Then later came back to the lady that was selling, because I knew her, and convinced her to lend me 250,000 rands to build those units. And then a friend of mine's mother was also retiring from work. And they came to me and said they want to invest in the project as well. They gave me the other 250 and I got money from elsewhere and I built those units. And I said that taught me a great deal of lessons in terms of what relationships are. Because that lady was from my church.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then that girl was my friend. And they had to trust me enough to lend me money to do the project and believe that when the project is successful, I'll be able to pay them back the money. So it happens just like that in business. There's money that is tied in relationships. That there's money that you can unlock just by unlocking certain relationships with people.
Sure.
I think we are more focused on networking. There's a difference though. Networking and building relationships are two different things.
Yeah.
Someone could be in my network, but we might not have a relationship. We're just in the network, right? And somebody can be in the network and we could have a relationship. Now it's different when I say to that person, I'm doing the deal. Can you make a call to so-and-so for me? And the person makes the call and the deal is going through. So that's why I say relationships are capital. There are people that can invest in your business, but you just don't have enough of a relationship with them for them to be able to invest in it.
Wow.
And they know that if they invest, you'll make money. And they're not even interested in their own money. My uncle was just giving me an example yesterday about one guy he introduced me to. He's like, Witty, that guy has got money. I'm like, why do you say he's got money? And he says, one of my trucks, his trucks, my uncle's trucks, got into an accident. And I had an order to supply. And the guy gave me his truck to do the order and the papers. When I came back, wanted to return the truck, the guy said, no, you can keep the truck.
Yeah.
They have that relationship.
Sure.
One time he says he was doing a project in Mpumalanga and he was short of cement. And he didn't want to call his brother. He thought he's bothering. He called this guy. This guy said to him, go to Cash Build, tell them my company name. They will give you 200 cement for you to continue with the project. When he's done with the project, he goes back to the guy wanting to pay. The guy's like, Chief, you haven't made any much money. Keep it.
Wow.
Grow your business. What is that? It's a relationship.
Sure.
Even if he was paying it back, the mere fact that he could access that guy for him to be able to finish the project is what? Relationships. So for me, relationships are a big thing. It's capital.
Wow.
But I have to nurture and look after the relationships that I have. And that's why I never want to burn bridges. I want to be able to look after and cultivate good relationships that can move my life to the next level.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you just a short question, so one word answers, or as short as you can, so rapid fire. So the first question, what book are you currently reading and enjoying?
The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz.
Wow, okay. And then who inspires you the most in the business world?
Brian Joffy.
And then what is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
The opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity.
Wow. And then last question, it's more than money. What is it about?
It's more than just money. A guide to escaping the rat race and building generational wealth. It's a masterclass in building something out of nothing. Most of the ideas that are in the book, you've probably heard them, but you've never heard them being explained in the manner that they've been explained. Whether you're a seasoned CEO or an entrepreneur or somebody just starting in your journey, you'll find that you will resonate with the ideas and they're going to help you in the business world, in entrepreneurship, in building a property investment portfolio, and having the right kind of mindset for you to be able to start and scale anything.
So if you'd say, because you say in the title, it's more than just money.
Yeah.
So in a few words, what would you say? What is it about then if it's more than just money?
Yeah, so and you must hear the title right? It's not even saying it's not about money. It's saying
it's more than just money, yeah.
So money is attracted to value. For money to come to you, there has to be something valuable that people see in you, and they're going to give you the money, and in return get what's valuable to them, right? So it's more of being able to create that value for people so that you can be able to attract the money. So it's not the money itself that comes to you, it's the value that attracts the money.
Wow.
So it's more than just money. It's basically building a mindset for you to understand that there must be something of value that you're doing and producing for you to be able to make the money, big or small.
Wow.
That's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, Witness Mdaka. Witness, thank you so much. This was amazing. I think we could have gone on for another hour or so. We'll have to have a follow-up session at some point. But thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. And may your platform keep growing, and may God keep on watering it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening today. Bye.
Bye.